Wow. Over 11,000 views. Now that's something else. Let's just pause it here. How the hell did you forget the TASM 2 suit? In fact, I think you wasted 50% of your top talking about the symbiote suits because Insomniac said that the symbiote would get on all of the suits. TASM 2 suit. I'm very curious to see an Ultimate Black suit. I would like to see the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit. I would love to see the Sensational suit. We need the TASM 2 suit in this game. Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit. I would like to see the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit as well. I'm waiting for it to happen. I would love to see the Amazing Spider-Man 2 costume. I would love to see the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit. I hope we get suits from the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Okay, so I guess you guys really want this Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit? Hey everyone, and welcome back to News to Astonish, where we discuss comics, movies, games, and more. My name is Ronnie, and I hope you all liked that little skit there. You had the option to skip and cut to the top 10 list, but I think that ruins the fun. So, some of you who watched my top 10 suits we need in Marvel Spider-Man 2 seemed a bit disappointed that I didn't include some of the suits you really were looking forward to seeing in the list, and some of you were upset at the fact that I included quite a few symbiote-based costumes. Well, judging by the fact that Marvel Spider-Man 2 might follow the symbiote narrative, I thought it would make sense to make a top 10 list featuring a few versions of the black suit. Since this is a bonus top 10 list, and I'm really dedicating this video to my commentators who gave me feedback in my last video, which I really appreciated, I dedicate this top 10 list to you all. So, without further ado, let's start with number 10, the Sensational Spider-Man suit. I'll tell you, the 90s were something else, and they surely were a great time for Ben Reilly's Spider-Man when he took over the mantle because he was supposedly the original Peter Parker. The Scarlet Spider costume was his original costume he wore, but since that suit is already included in the first Marvel Spider-Man game, we're not going to talk about it here. Reilly ended up creating his own version of the Spider-Man costume in the Sensational Spider-Man number 0. His new costume followed similar designs of the classic costume, though it did feature really sleek lines and an exaggerated spider logo that wrapped around his entire torso. His costume had his web shooters exposed that included offensive weapons like impact webbing and stingers he originally created for his Scarlet Spider-Man costume. Number 9. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now this is the suit that the majority of you have been asking for, people. Here it is. It's definitely a great costume, there's no denying that. After what we got in Mark Webb's first Amazing Spider-Man film, we were wondering if there was going to be any changes to the costume in the sequel, and boy, it didn't disappoint whatsoever. Clearly reminiscent of the comics and definitely a huge improvement over the original suit we got in the first film, the Amazing Spider-Man suit, or the TASM 2 suit as everyone likes to call it, boasts big white eyes, dark red and blue coloring, and a bit of raised webbing. It's similar to Raimi's suit we got in the original Spider-Man trilogy, but this suit is definitely up there as one of the greatest Spider-Man suits we've ever seen on the big screen. I'm surprised we didn't even see it make its appearance in the first Marvel Spider-Man game. Instead, we got the TASM suit. So why not the TASM 2 suit? Number 8. The Superior Spider-Man suit. There was a time where Otto Octavius took over Peter Parker's body and vowed to become a more superior Spider-Man than Peter Parker ever was. As such, Otto basically redesigned the original suit, switching out the blue to black and altering the back spider logo, gloves, boots, and mask, and gave the lenses more of a goggle-like design. This suit design is sleek and features a lot of tech in the suit, which to my surprise wasn't featured in the first Marvel Spider-Man game. Come on, Insomniac Games. Please bring this suit to the sequel. Honestly, there were a lot of opportunities with that suit in particular. I mean, we did have that tech wheel in the first Marvel Spider-Man game, so I think it would have been a great choice and a smart one, therefore, if we had the Superior Spider-Man suit in Marvel Spider-Man. So, number 7, both SpiderMan Noir and Into the Spider-Verse SpiderMan Noir. On Earth 9214, in the heart of New York City during the 1930s, Peter Parker loses his uncle Ben to the Goblin. Peter Parker becomes angry at the death of his uncle Ben and the injustices of the world. This Peter has a strong passion for justice and ends up getting a job where Ben Urich Works, which is the Daily Bugle. Later at the Rooney Imports warehouse on a pier, it's here where Peter Parker gets bitten by a spider-like god. Only the bite will kill someone only if they have evil intent, but instead, Peter Parker is bestowed with great spider powers. Peter Parker becomes SpiderMan. SpiderMan Noir is a great spider suit to have, especially if this game is going to be focusing on the symbiote narrative, which means that the story will have more or less dark themes. SpiderMan Noir would be a great complement to the game. Also, add the SpiderMan Noir suit from the Into the Spider-Verse movie, but give it that 12 FPS treatment. It's been done in Spider-Man Miles Morales. Number 6. Civilian Peter Parker suit. Okay, this isn't much of a costume, but rather just a Peter Parker in his civvies. The Peter Parker skin has been a hit or miss to me, mostly in a creepy way, but we did get that chance to play as Peter Parker during that one segment in the game, but why wasn't this skin unlocked? It's kind of a fan favorite, but honestly, it'd be fun to swing around as Peter Parker, and even if everyone can see your face. Number 5. Japanese Spider-Man, or SpiderMan as it's called in Japan. Okay, Japanese Spider-Man isn't canon to the comics, neither did it feature any of the supporting characters from the comics in the show. Japanese Spider-Man was only introduced in Japan only for the character of Marvel to gain exposure outside of the United States. Instead of it being about a teenage boy being bitten by a radioactive spider, this show follows a young motorcycle racer named Takuya Yamashiro who witnesses a UFO falling into the earth, which goes by the name The Marveler. Takuya then discovers the last surviving warrior of Planet Spider, which was the world destroyed by, get this, Professor Monster. Not a total obvious villain whatsoever. Garia, the last surviving warrior from the Spider Planet, injects some of his blood to Takuya to carry on the fight, giving Takuya spider powers, a spider bracelet which allowed Takuya to wear a protective spider costume during battle. This suit would be awesome to swing and fight around with. Insomnia Games should definitely consider adding this suit in the game. Number 4. Ultimate Spider-Man. Although this is a modern variation of the classic Spider-Man costume, it does look different from its popular Earth 616 counterpart. We've already seen this costume back in the Ultimate Spider-Man game that came out for the PS2, but wouldn't it be awesome if it made a comeback to a current Marvel Spider-Man game? The eyes are exaggerated and wide. This version of Spider-Man is a lanky, short, skinny kid, and overall it would appear cartoony alongside other characters in the game. Insomnia Games, bring the suit to the sequel. Number 3. Spider-Man 6 Arms. It would be a little creepy to see the Spider-Man 6 Arms in action. I would love to see Spider-Man fight with his 6 limbs. Perhaps the combos would be a bit different. The 6 Arms have been a popular storyline in the comics, and even in the classic animated series from the 90s. If this isn't a selectable skin, then at least let's make it a suit power for the sequel. Number 2. Spider Carnage. Okay, I doubt the suit will be selectable in the sequel, but then again, it would appear that the symbiote will play a role in the narrative in the sequel. So Spider Carnage is exactly what you think it is. It's the Carnage symbiote merged with Spider-Man. He is a villain in the Marvel Universe. In the comics, Spider Carnage was the alter ego of Spider-Man's clone, Ben Reilly. If the suit makes it in the game, I wonder how much of the symbiote's powers we can use in the game. You let me know your thoughts if you'd like to see the suit make it to the sequel. And number 1, SpiderCop. Honestly, why wasn't this a suit in the first game? A lot of fans kept imagining what would SpiderCop look like. Talk about an opportunity missed from Insomnia Games. In Marvel Spider-Man, Peter Parker, voiced brilliantly by Yuri Lowenthal, shifts his voice to a dark tone while talking to Yuri, pretending to be a made-up character called SpiderCop, talking about justice and brooding deep in thought like some DC characters we know. Actually, if you all ever read Spider-Geddon, SpiderCop does make a brief appearance in a small screen. His existence even acknowledged, which makes it even funnier. SpiderCop is pretty much sporting what we thought a SpiderCop would wear: sunglasses, a poorly drawn mustache, and a police uniform over a Spider-Man suit. Honestly, it would be hilarious and overall just fun to play as SpiderCop. And that's it for my bonus top 10 Spider-Man suits we need in Marvel Spider-Man 2. Didn't see a suit make it to my top 10 list? If so, comment down below and let me know which suit you would like to see make it to the list. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click on bell notifications so you all don't miss anything. And I'll see you all in the next comic panel.